right, guys, moving on to number 6. So this is review for explicit and recursive. I gave you the original problems in screencast for that, and then there was already an extra. So these are just 2 more extra problems. I would encourage you to go back and review everything before the exam. All right, so the first question is this formula right here, and that says a sub n, explicit or recursive? The answer is it's explicit. How do I know? I know because I plug in the term number. N stands for the term number, okay? That's how I know it's explicit, because explicit lets me plug in the term number. Say it's 100, and I can get the answer of what that actual term is, just like that. All right, so the first 4 terms of the sequence. So that's when n is 1, 2, 3, and 4. This isn't the sequence, all right? These are the terms. So to get my terms, I do 3 times 1 plus 2, and then I do 3 times 2 plus 2, 3 times 3 plus 2, and 3 times 4 plus 2. So this 1 right here is term 1. That 2 stands for term 2. Term 3, term 4. So I'm plugging those in right there for n. All right, so the actual numbers, make sure you add first. So that's 3 times 3. That's 9. This is 4 times 3. It's 12. This is going to be 5 times 3. 15. I'm picking up a recursive pattern here, which I could use to get the next one. See, it's going up by 3. I just finished the explicit. So 4 plus 2 is 6 times 3 is 18. Sure enough, it went up by 3 again. All right, so it's an explicit formula. If I wanted the 100th term, I would do 3 times 100 plus 2. So that would be 3 times 102, and that would be 306. All right, so it's like do not pass go. Go straight to where I want to go. All right, the next one, and on your paper, I'm sure you can see it, but this is n, and that is n minus 1. Okay? Is this explicit or recursive? This guy is recursive. How do I know? I know because a to the n minus 1 means I plug in the previous term. So if I want a sub 4, I just wrote 5. If I want a sub 5, I plug in a sub 4, right? If I want a sub 80, I plug in a sub 79, and so forth, okay? So to be recursive here, it means I keep building. And what do? I plug in the previous term, and I add 6. So there's my first term. I have to tell you the first term or you can't get going. You have no traction, right? So then I plug in my previous term. That's my a sub n minus 1, all right? Because I'm on term 2. This is term 1. I'm on term 2. I plug in 4. I add 6. My next term is 10, okay? I'm on the third term. So I plug in the second term, which is 10. I add 6, and I get 16. Fourth term, I plug in the third term, so that's 16, plus 6, and I've got 22. Right? For some reason, I decided to write in the wrong spot, and that's all right. Okay. next question. I love these problems. I don't know about you guys, but I do. So my question here is how many circles are in the fifth frame? Okay, I'm going to do it the easiest way, which is explicitly. So I don't want to have to draw the frame necessarily, nor do I want to have to do recursion. So I don't want to have to draw the fourth and then the fifth. And I certainly, for number B, do not want to have to draw all of the frames between 1 and 15. That would just be crazy. So I spot this pattern, okay? So how many across, okay, how many across is the frame number plus 2, right? How many middle guys? This has no middle ones, okay? I'm going to come back to that. How many go across the top and the bottom? Does it work? Frame number plus 2? Yep. Same guy here. Frame number is 3 plus 2. All right. I've got 1, and the frame number is 2. And then I've got 2, and the frame number is 3. This one had none, and the frame number was 1. All right, I get it. Frame number minus 1. Frame number minus 1. That goes for that also. Okay. So when I do how many circles are in the fifth frame, all right, my top, frame number plus 2. My bottom, frame number plus 2. So notice I'm counting the corners here, okay? You may have done it differently, and that's okay. You can still break it up differently and still get the right answer, but this is how I did it. So these are my corners. I've already counted them. Now I'm going to count these parts. Frame number minus 1. 4. Other side. Frame number minus 1. So 4. So how many circles? That's going to be 7 plus 7 plus 4 plus 4. It's looking like 22 to me. Okay. So 15th frame. Top, frame number plus 2. 17. Bottom, frame number plus 2. 17. Side, frame number minus 1. 14. Side, frame number minus 1. 14. So when I add this, I got 17, 17, 14, 14. So let's see, that's 28. That's 34. So that's going to be 50 plus 12. It's the only way I can add in my head, guys, so I split it up. All right, so 62. Hopefully I did that right. All right, and by right, I mean I added right. I know I labeled it right. All right, so nth frame. Top, well, n plus 2. Bottom, n plus 2. Side, n minus 1. Side, n minus 1. All right, I could write this different ways, okay? I'm going to just go straight forward here. N plus 2 plus n plus 2 plus n minus 1 plus n minus 1. You could write like 2 parentheses n plus 2 plus 2 parentheses n minus 1. Doesn't matter. In the end, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 n's. 4, but I subtract 2 off, so plus 2. Okay? All right, next question. All right, this is knowing the difference between implicit and explicit. Okay, so you need to know, and you've got this from that reading, what is implicit knowledge? Students have it coming in. All right, so think about this. Do you think your students, all right, 5th grade here, at least we're going to say 5th grade, have heard the word average before? Yeah, they definitely have. Batting average, the average height, the test average, they have heard it a lot of times. So you'd want to have a discussion with your students about what that word means to them. We might say things like represents all numbers. So represents all numbers with one number, like a batting average does. Okay? Other people might say it is the middle number, right? Because it is, the average is going to be in between the highest and the lowest. So they might think of it as being the middle number. Average, if they, play baseball, they're going to realize their batting average is going to use, well, that's not good, all numbers in the calculation. Right, so they're going to have different ideas about what average is. All these things are true, okay? It's implicit knowledge. So what you then are going to do is lead them to the explicit knowledge, right? Which the explicit knowledge here is to find the average, add up all numbers, and divide by how many? Right, that's how you find the mean or the average. That's the explicit knowledge. That's how you actually do it. It's going to use up all the numbers, and then dividing by how many is going to take us back to the actual size of the numbers in the data set. Right, so I don't care that you know about averages, guys. It's, do you know the difference between implicit and explicit? Okay. So which comes first, implicit or explicit? Implicit. You start with implicit, you go to explicit. In this case, we didn't talk about it, but often students will make conjectures based on their implicit knowledge, okay? And that leads to the explicit knowledge, all right? So, hey, they have some ideas about how numbers work. They make conjectures, and then the teacher clarifies it and turns it into explicit knowledge. All right, looks like that is it. So I'll save this one, get it posted. I hope you guys prepare well for the exam. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask.